Welcome. My name is Brendan Comerford and I'm a priest here in the Jesuit community in Garden Street. On Sundays, if you go to Mass, you hear three readings. One from the Old Testament, one from the letters of St. Paul, and a reading from one of the four Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke and John. The reading from the Old Testament often needs a lot of explanation as to its background, its context. The reading from St. Paul is usually more accessible to us, but an explanation of what's going on in the community to which Paul is writing his letter is very helpful. After all, these letters were written nearly 2,000 years ago. Did Paul ever imagine that we'd be reading and reflecting on his letters today? The Gospel reading is probably the one we remember most, and it's usually on the theme of the Gospel that the priest bases his homily or sermon. Maybe you stopped going to Sunday Mass, but some stories or words from the Gospel remain in your memory. Stories like the prodigal son, or Zacchaeus up the tree, the rich young man who wants to follow Jesus, but discovers that he can't because of his great wealth. And then there are the stories of the birth of Jesus, the nativity stories which we hear at Christmas, and the accounts of Jesus' passion, death and resurrection, read for us during Holy Week and at Easter. In this short course of 5 Monday evening talks, I'd like to concentrate on the four Gospels. I'll be asking, how much information do we have about Jesus from the Gospels? Were there other Gospels knocking around at the same time that were not accepted by the early church? Why have we 4 Gospels? Why do the Gospels sometimes differ in their account of the same event? Did you ever wish that you knew more about the background to the Gospels? I will therefore treat of the basic question of what is a Gospel. Are the 4 Gospels a literal historical account of the life, death and resurrection of Jesus? Or are they much more than that? When were the 4 Gospels written, and for whom? Who were Mark, Matthew, Luke and John? Who were the communities to which these Gospels were addressed? What was going on in these communities at the time? After the initial talk, I will treat of Mark, Matthew, Luke and John on the subsequent evenings. My fervent hope is that these 5 talks will not only help your understanding of what you hear from each Gospel, but will help you to pray with what you hear and read. So do come along in person or via video link.